Hey everybody, Tekking101 here. How you guys doing? Hope you had a good Christmas. I forgot to bring that up in the last video, but I hope you had a good holiday season. And looking forward to the new year! I was also, this was last minute, I really didn't plan this, but I was looking back through my old videos, and I remember that every year I used to do like a top 10 moments in Bleach of like 2015, 2016, so I might be able to do, I have a lot of other stuff I have to do, but I might try to squeeze like a top 5 or top 10 moments of One Piece in 2017 by the end of this year. So we'll see how that goes. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Let me know what you think would be the top 5 or top 10 moments, or what are your favorite moments in general from this past year, so I can get a gauge on that. Oh, in case you're curious, it would be from chapter 852 to now, so 889, just to make it easy for you for the chapter numbers. But this video is going to be about, I'm sure you could probably tell down there with the awesome logo, is we're going to be talking about Jinbe, but more specifically, we're going to be talking about the dynamic of the Straw Hat crew. That means how the Straw Hats interact with each other, how, you know, the strength tier goes. You know, you have the monster trio and everything like that. Of course, Luffy, then Zoro, then Sanji, you know, and then after that, it becomes a little bit more debatable, like who's the 5th strongest, who's the 6th strongest. And it's like, well, if you calculate for Chopper's monster point and divide by Frankie learning hockey and a full tank of the cola, then you get, then you also have to calculate the diameter of Brook's afro, and then you get to, you know, like that's always, you know, debatable on how to rank all the Straw Hats beyond the top 3. Jinbe joining, I think, is pretty much at this point a guaranteed thing. If you still don't think Jinbe is going to join the crew, I don't know what to tell you. I guess this video is just completely irrelevant to you. Actually, comment that below too. If you're still a holdout, if you still are sitting there reading the story on a weekly basis, and you're just sitting there like, nah, I just don't see that. I don't just see the Fishman joining Tekking. I just don't see it. If you genuinely feel that, let me know below, because that's something that I feel like Oda has just kind of like pounded it into our skulls at this point. I mean, his pedigree in fighting is already, you know, speaks for itself. He used to be a warlord, so he could definitely stand with the best of them. He has a unique fighting style, fishman karate. He is a fishman. We never had a fishman on the crew before. And even in this last arc, he was given a task aboard the ship. He would be the crew's, the Thousand Sunny's helmsman. So I think it's a pretty much, you know, there, unless you want to look at it like Oda is trying to hammer it in so obviously that he's going to join the crew that we're gonna think that, and then he's gonna throw us a curveball, like he gets killed by Big Mom at the end of the Totland arc, and be like, well, that certainly would be a curveball there, but I think him joining at this point is like 99.8%, you know, gonna happen there. Yeah, so let's talk about how he's gonna, you know, how he would interact with the Straw Hat crew, how introducing the Jinbe dynamic into it would go down. And keep in mind, we have not had a new Straw Hat for over a decade, or very near to a decade. I think when Brook joined up, I believe that was back in 2008, you know, and so we're coming on 2018 here, and that's really ridiculous. This is the longest we've ever gone without having a Straw Hat join up. Which is crazy when you consider this is a 20-year-long manga. If he joins up with the crew, how would this work strength-wise? Where would Jinbe rank in the crew? And this is something else that we haven't seen yet, because the dynamic with the strength has always been Luffy, and then Zoro, and then Sanji, and then they make up the monster trio. It usually goes, Luffy has to fight against the absolute strongest, you know, villain in the arc. Like, you know, if it's against CP9, then he has to fight against the strongest member of CP9, which was Rob Lucci. If it's against the Doflamingo family, he has to fight against Doflamingo. And then you have Zoro that takes on the 2nd strongest, and then you have Sanji that takes on the 3rd strongest. This was actually the most obvious in the Enies Lobby arc, because you had the CP9 members that were ranked with like a power level, and you see like, oh, Rob Lucci was 4,000, and then Kaku was like 2,200, and then Jabra was like right below that, like it's like 2,190. 90 or something. And then right there, you had it like, you know, number 1, Luffy, number 2, Zoro, number 3, Sanji. Yeah. Now, this setup was, you know, shaken up a bit, you know, especially in the last, like, Dressrosa, because Sanji had to leave, you know, like 1/4 of the way through the arc. So he didn't get to fight against the 3rd strongest. But, you know, you make up for that by having Law there. So Law was the one that took out Treble, Zoro was the one that took out Pika, and then Luffy was the one that took out Doflamingo. I guess you can include Diamante in there. So that's what I mean, though. Like that the dynamic was beginning to shake a little bit in Dressrosa. It wasn't the same way as it was before the time skip. You know, the way the situation we had there. Even Fishman Island, it was kind of the same thing. But yeah, so Jinbe, where would he rank? I would say he would rank right between Zoro and Sanji. I would say that would be a good place to put him, so I guess it wouldn't be the Monster Trio, it would be the Monster Quartet, or something like that. And that's not to say that Jinbe would, you know, like he would be able to just curb stomp Sanji, or conversely to that, Zoro would be able to curb stomp Jinbe. That just means that, like, I think in a straight up fight, you know, Sanji versus Jinbe, it would be an actual fight. It would not be over in like a second. But after a prolonged battle, it would be Jinbe that comes out on top. Same thing I think with Zoro and Jinbe. Over a long drawn out battle, it would not be easy for either of them, but eventually Zoro would come out victorious against Jinbe. So I think that would be an appropriate place to put him. And also, that would mean that we could have we could have stronger opponents in each arc. We can get to an arc, we get to Wano, and it's like, holy crap, you know, we have Kaido, who's like the top dog, the absolute strongest, and, you know, getting involved with Kaido, like, this is what I mean by, like, this whole paradigm is shifting, because I cannot see Luffy going head-to-head with Kaido in just a straight-up one-on-one fight. You know, and winning, like the way he did, like, one-on-one fight Doflamingo, boom, KO, one-on-one fight with Rob Lucci, boom, KO, one-on-one fight with Eneru, boom, KO. I don't see him doing that with, well, obviously we didn't see him do that with Big Mom, and I also don't see him doing that with Kaido. So I don't even know if you should include Kaido in this paradigm, so let's just kind of like set Kaido aside and just set up the structure of Wano. Let's put the Shogun at the top then, you know, like, okay, now it's making more sense, like Luffy versus Shogun one-on-one, boom, or Luffy and Zoro together with the Shogun, or something of that nature. Kaido, I think the only honest way you're gonna take Kaido down is if you had, like, the entire crew together, plus throw on a few supernovas onto that little mixture, and then maybe, fucking maybe, you might have a shot. But even then, probably not. So yeah, and then we could have, like, all these, like high-grade samurai that are working underneath the Shogun, like all these, like, his personal bodyguards, his, like, personal top warriors, you know, and we could have more of them because we have stronger people. We have Jinbe, and plus we have Law, who's also going to be at Wano. So we could have, like, we could have, like, 5 or 6 top-ranking samurai. Maybe even 7 or 8 if you include, like, Kinemon and Kanjuro and Raizo. They need to get a fight in that arc. So what that basically comes down to is, if Jinbe joins, we have more epic battles to be had. Now, how would the dynamic work with all the crew members? And this is kind of weird when you really think about it, because after the time skip, we really haven't seen the Straw Hats, like, aboard the Thousand Sunny all together just hanging out, which I've already said this before a bunch of times, but I really wish we would get more of that, you know, because the Straw Hats are supposed to be, we're all Nakama, we're all one big family, and we don't actually get to see them just chilling out on the ship all that much, you know, like, really how that dynamic works. That's one thing that's actually expanded a lot more in the anime and in the movies, that's nice, because they've been separated for, like, the big part of, like, going on 200 chapters here, ever since, like a quarter of the way through Dressrosa, when Nami and Sanji and Chopper, they all leave, and even after meeting up at Zou, you had Sanji that was gone, so the last time all the Straw Hats were together in one place was about 200 chapters ago, you know, right before Dressrosa started, and I guess that's the point there. And I don't think there's never, like, a problem with it. I mean, hell, look at Robin and Frankie. They were, like, the enemies of the Straw Hat crew before they joined up, and everything seemed to work out okay with them. You know, hell, Frankie beat the crap out of Usopp. You know, it's like after Frankie joins the crew, it's like, hey man, how you doing? Remember when you beat the crap out of me like 3 weeks ago? Yeah, we're cool, bro. Yeah, we're cool. And they hang out all the time. Robin was like a high-ranking member of freaking Baroque Works. She didn't do anything directly to screw with the Straw Hat crew. I mean, if anything, she kind of tried to help them out at Whiskey Peak and everything like that. But still, she was an enemy nonetheless, and they kind of accepted her. They were a little bit cold to her at first, but they warmed up to her fairly quickly. So, yeah, I mean, Jinbe is not an enemy. He's been an ally with the crew ever since he met Luffy and Impel Down, so yeah, they have no reason to really not get along there. I'm also interested in finding out a little something quirky or something else about Jinbe's character, aren't you? Like, he's awesome in fighting. He used to be a warlord. We know all about that. We all know about the fishman karate stuff. He can talk to fish. That's something that might be useful. Who knows? Oh man, I just thought of something really messed up. This could be messed up in a lot of senses, a lot of levels. But, they're sailing around on the Thousand Sunny, and they're like, fish aren't biting today, are they? Jinbe's like, hold on. Hey, get over here. Oh, we're catching all the fish now. Fry them up, Sanji. I mean, has it ever actually been stated what a fishman's view to other fish are, like just ordinary fish? Because it's like, with the minks, it was stated, like, they eat anything that doesn't have fur. So they eat, like, fish and, like, reptiles and amphibians and stuff. And that's how the minks view it. But has it ever been directly stated with the fishmen? Like, or like Jinbe sitting down to eat, like Alaskan salmon. Like, would that be weird for him, or how would that work? But yeah, I want to find something else quirky about him, though. Something that's not suited to combat or anything, just something weird. Like, we find out that, I don't know, Jinbei's really good at, like, knitting or something. Like, maybe not something exactly like that, but, I mean, it's not useful for anything really, like, in battle, but he wears, like, a different kimono every time we see him. That would be something like he's on the ship just chilling out, and, like, somebody's, like, clothing gets ripped, and he's like, oh, hold on a second, I got this. And he's like, whoa, Jinbe can knit? And it would be funny because he's, like, this giant, monstrous, used to be a warlord fishman that looks like he could just bite your head off with his jaws, which he totally could. And he's like, oh, hold on a second, I'm really good at knitting. Like, it'd be funny. Also, the fact that he used to be a warlord, that's a huge bonus. He has the deets. He has, like, inside information about, like, he's probably been to the Holy Land before. For, like, one of those meetings, like, and that's even been stated. I think Otohime actually went up to the Holy Land to get, like, that, getting the Fishman Island and everyone, like, accepted into the world government and everything, the Ryuga Kingdom into the world government. So Otohime's definitely been there, and the whole reason that the world government made Jinbe a warlord was to better relationships with the fishmen. So he's probably been there before, and we've seen the warlords have meetings there, so yeah, he would know the layout of the place, he would know how to get in and everything like that, and he would have inside information on the world government itself. I mean, to be fair, the world government and the Marines probably were kind of careful about giving out information to the warlords because they are still pirates. It wasn't like, Sengoku's going up to Doflamingo like, hey, Doflamingo, check out all these secret forms we have, like secret plans in the world government. Obviously, they weren't doing anything like that. Obviously, Jinbe doesn't know everything about the inner workings of the Marines and the world government on, like, a deep, deep level, but the fact that he's been to the Holy Land alone, and the fact that he knows that stuff inside and out, knows who the higher ranks are and everything like that, knows about the Gorosei, knows who the Gorosei are, probably knows their names. Isn't that something that's weird? 20 years, we've never found out what one of the Gorosei's names are. We have to identify them by, like, guy with a mustache and the Gorbachev birthmark, Gandhi-looking dude with a sword that might actually be, like, Ichidai Kotetsu, Sanji's uncle, other dude that looks like Gonfall. Actually, I thought this was Gonfall for the longest time after the Gorosei were introduced. I was like, why is Gonfall a freaking Gorosei? I don't know. But yeah, he knows information about that. We've also established that he's the helmsman of the crew. He was able to, get in and out of the tidal wave that Big Mom created, and he was able to, like, handle the sails and everything like that. Maybe he might even have some pointers for, like, Frankie. He's like, Frankie, if you design the helm like this, and if you adjust the rudder like so, and if you add another sail over here, then this ship will be able to sail even better, and then some Frankie and Usopp will get together, and they'll go and make some modifications to the ship, and then Jinbe Jinbe, because the New World is pretty treacherous. I mean, so far, they've encountered some pretty crazy weather patterns, so the fact that Jinbe's there and being the helmsman, that would be a very handy thing, and I hope they actually go and touch upon that more than just, like, you know, we see Jinbe at the helm. I hope they actually introduce that, like, holy crap, there's this giant ocean coming up that's made of needles, and it's like, alright, well, I got this, and they actually have a chapter or so, or at least maybe like one like section of the chapter where we see Jinbe navigating through this like impossible, like, this is the labyrinth sea, it's an entire sea that's currents that are like a labyrinth, and Jinbe, and between Jinbe and Nami, they managed to navigate the thing or something. Like, that would be cool. Yeah, in terms of, like, Fishman karate stuff, like, he can actually adjust currents if he really wanted to. That's one of his whole techniques. He actually goes under the water and, like, you know, like, does his weird jujitsu crap and, like, water heart and, like, actually generates an entire new freaking water current. If he really wanted to, he can, like, manufacture, like, a small-scale version of, like, the knock-up stream if he wanted to. You know, like, he could go underwater, generate a current, and, like, shoot the freaking Thousand Sunnies straight up if he really wanted to. Like, would that accomplish much? I mean, it wouldn't be strong enough to send them into the sky proper, but as, like, a quick escape, oh crap, we're out of cola, hold on guys, boom! And then, being a fishman, he's super fast in the water, he can catch up with them, whatever. You know, and they have water support, which is something that, considering there's so many devil fruit users on the crew, usually whenever Luffy and Chopper and Brook fall overboard, it's like Zoro or Sanji have to go in and rescue them. But now you got Jinbe on the crew, you don't even really need to worry about that anymore. You know, even if they, like, oh crap, we're under attack, oh man, Brook fell in the water, oh, okay, Jinbe got him, everything's cool. It would be like that for him. And if you were ever being attacked by the Marines or anything like that, having support in the water would be completely indispensable at that point, because not every crew has a freaking fishman on them. You know, he would know other fishmen, and I only bring this up because we know, like, on Whitebeard's crew there was a fishman. I think he was actually a section commander, so, you know, if the Straw Hats ever run into a fishman again, Jinbe would probably know them, or a merman or a mermaid, you know, whatever, he would know these guys, and it would be, like, better connections there. He has the entire, you know, you have the Straw Hats, and you have Robin for the information on the surface world and everything like that, and you have Jinbe now for information on the seafloor and everything like that, if there ever really needs to be information where that needs to get brought up. I don't know if Jinbe would necessarily know anything more about, like, poneglyphs and the Void Century or anything like that, just because he was part of the world government, and, you know, like, that poneglyph and Joy Boy and everything, that's part of Fishman Island culture, although he might not know specifics, but later on the line, maybe Jinbe could recall, like, a fairy tale or something, like, oh yes, when I was a child, we heard a fairy tale about Joy Boy and Noah, or something like that. Like they thought it was just a myth. Like, King Neptune knew about it, and he told Robin, and Robin actually read it straight from the poneglyph, but, you know, this was something that occurred on Fishman Island hundreds of years ago, so it might still live on in the form of, like, a fairy tale, something they just assume is not a real story, but actually might be, and Jinbe might have knowledge of that in some way. So yeah, I just wanted to have a discussion about this, you know, Jinbe's place in the crew, how strong he would be, the support he could supply, and how, like, his dynamic with everybody would work out and everything like that. What do you guys hope to see from him? Yeah, and I was thinking about maybe making a video about this same basic shtick, but with Carrot, and, you know, we'll maybe hold on that off a little bit more, but in my opinion, I think Jinbe is a sure thing, and it's also very possible that we might have Carrot join as well, because it's been, like I said, 10 years since the last freaking crew member, and it's kind of a sausage fest already. You know, well, in Jinbe's case, it'd be like a whale shark fest, but you know what I mean, like, you can get another female, it can be a twofer, nobody said it only has to be one person can join at the same time. You know, whatever, you can have 2 for 1. Oh, and maybe, just maybe, if there's time, the Straw Hats can circle back around to East Blue, and they can pick up Gaimon as the 12th crew member. Yeah, at least, hey, him and Brook would have a lot to discuss. And I only bring this up because maybe a lot of you were like, what, Gaimon? Like, oh, the little bush guy? Yeah, I was watching a 4Kids episode last night. Don't ask me why, it's just something I do. And I completely forgot about this, but yeah, Luffy asked him to join his crew at one point, and I'm sitting there like, I wonder how that would have gone if he actually joined up. So fuck it, bring on Gaimon. Alright, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave your comments below and some of your favorite moments from this past year, as well as your thoughts on Jinbe and everything like that. Hope you have a good one. Tekking101 signing out.